Hi, Farhan. Welcome to this interaction with City Times.
Hi, Ambika. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. Things have been in a bit of a tizzy because of Dilip Kumar's passing away in the
Yes,
news.
of course.
Yeah, and we saw your condolence as well. Uh, I know it's I think heartening to see how the industry comes together when something like this happens. But yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, what does one say about a talent like him? Honestly,
Hmm.
he's too big a personality, that's the thing. I mean, he's not actively been working. I mean, obviously for a while, but I mean, there's still. I mean, as a part of the fraternity, it's always just so reassuring that like people like him are there. So it you feel weirdly like in a strange way, the industry feels often when things like this happen.
Mm.
You know.
Okay. So Farhan, I'm just taking on from this particular point, but looking on from based on what has been happening and the news that has come to us this morning, what's the legacy that you hope to leave behind in an industry, considering that you have taken on quite a slew of different roles over the years?
Honestly, Ambika, I mean, like legacy and stuff is not something for us to think about. We have to just do our work, and hopefully our work itself creates, I don't know, creates an impression, creates an impact, and we'll be remembered for that if we need to be, But I mean, the minute one starts believing their own myth or believing their own legend, I mean, that's the first sign of trouble that something's gone desperately wrong. So I honestly don't stop to think about this. My intention every single time that I act in a film, direct a film, produce a film, co-write a film, is to just try and give the audience an experience that maybe that kind of experience that they may not have had before, or do something that gives them something new to kind of mull over or chew. And that's basically it. That's all you can do. I mean, is tickle the creative uh, neurons in people's minds. So that's what I endeavor to do.
Okay. Farhan, everything that you have done in the industry, and you are in a position, I guess, where you can pick and choose to a certain extent the kind of roles. I'm talking about active acting that you want to be seen in. Everything has kind of resonated. There's Karthik versus Calling Karthik, which I still remember watching in a theater in Dubai. And you have like all the other movies that you have done, and including this Bad Milka and Toofan, which is coming up. What is it that makes you say yes to a movie like Toofan, considering that you know the hardship of actually doing a sports biopic just a couple of years before?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing in these decisions is what is this film trying to say behind all this, the glamour and the glitz of the boxing world. What is the story about? What is the journey of this character? What is the message hidden in the subtext of this film? And that really spoke to me because I mean it's a film that stresses on the importance of love. It stresses on the importance of forgiveness of others and of forgiving yourself. It's stresses on understanding, accepting the other, regardless of differences. So there's many aspects to this story that really worked for me. And also, I think, given the times that we are in, the world over, I mean, I feel like currently, I mean, especially now, even further aggravated by the pandemic, there's the world is in a bit of chaos, and everyone's kind of searching for like, what next and how are things going to be, and paranoias have got heightened, and like so, many things have happened that are not that you and I would not consider to be what we would fall under the realms of basic humanity. Like there've been so many changes and so much negativity that's kind of surrounded us. In the middle of all that, I felt this film was a film about love in these wounded times. So it really spoke to me. So that's how I feel about it.
And what about the physical part of it, Farhan? I think, it must have been extremely taxing for you, but you also lead a very active role from what we can make out from your Instagram, because boxing, I feel, is something that we have seen on your social media
Oh
platform?
yeah, that's all a part of the training of this film. Before I started training for this film, I'd never really boxed before in my life.
Oh.
Yeah, but I got to learn not only about the sport, not only learning about how to be an active participant in it and kind of hold my own to a certain degree, but also, I mean, the history of it. Also learned about there's a I mean, apart from the scientific side and the craft and the there's an art to it, and there's a whole kind of spiritual side, is because I mean one part of you is fighting the opponent who's in the ring with you, and there's one part that's really battling itself, and you test yourself as a person every single time you go into that ring. You test your character every single time you go into that ring. So it's an incredible sport. It really teaches you a lot of things about life, and it teaches you a lot of things about yourself.
Mhm. And also sport, we know, from the what we have read about it and from what other people have actually, sports people have actually spoken about it. It's more a case of mind over the body. So is that something that helps you or something that has seen you through these turbulent times in Bollywood as well? To put yourself in a bubble and kind of, remain strong despite all the criticism or whatever coming your way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to, on some level, you have to develop a strong mind, especially when you're in a field of work where your work is for public consumption, and how your career will further itself, and the freedoms that you will be allowed, or the courage that you will be able to display, is so dependent on how people respond to your work.
Mm.
So we are what the audiences make us. I mean, uh, you can be you could be a phenomenal talent, and we've seen this over time. There's some people who've been incredibly talented, and unfortunately, somehow the audiences have just not taken to them, and their careers went in a very different direction. So it is a combination. It is a combination of knowing your strengths, developing further strengths, pushing yourself out of your comfort zone every single time you're asked to do something. Yet at the same time, you have to maintain a healthy respect for your viewer, because they are the people who give you the strength to carry on. So I try my best to keep finding that balance every time I do a film. I do try.
Mhm. And also, speaking about balance, Farhan, of course, you don a lot of roles. I mean, you are a producer, you're a director, you're an actor. One almost feels jealous that, how is it that one is given everything at the same time? But how do you do that balancing act? For example, when it comes to a movie like Toofan, how do you decide that this is a movie that I want to kind of be a producer or put in money or just be a director as against actually putting your whole self into it?
I haven't come to a place just yet where I'm comfortable enough to act in something that I will direct. Because for me, the demands of both those roles are very varied. So I find it tough. So when this story was developed, I knew for a fact that this character of Aziz Ali was the character that I did want to play. I could, from a very early stage there, because it the idea germinated inside of me, of what this story should be about and who it should be about, and I was very attached and very close to him. So I did want to play that, and the next best thing that could happen, was, first is to find Anjum Rajabali, who took this story and crafted it into an incredible screenplay, and then Rakesh Mehra coming on board, and kind of making this film and this story his own. And so it's had it's really been a good journey. But I never ever considered directing this film. I always thought of myself as Aziz Ali when I was working on the script.
Mhm. And also tell us about your rapport with Rakesh. I mean, you mentioned his name now. So, how is it working alongside a person like him who has got so many great movies to his name as well?
An absolute pleasure, an absolute privilege. He, I mean, I feel creatively very aligned with him, and I feel that our synergy, our collaborative strengths, um, honestly came together really well on Bhag Milka Bhag. And when I did realize through that process that here is a director who knows how to make a film, he knows how to tell a story. because he goes beyond the obvious. You know, he finds subtext in a lot of things that most people would overlook. And he's sensitive to his material. He's empathetic even to the bad characters in his films, because nobody is black and white. You know, I mean, everybody's doing something for a reason. And on set, in the collaborative aspect of things, gives you the freedom to express yourself as that character, as you see him, and not as he sees it. You know, so it's a very interesting environment to be in as an actor, to be able to have that kind of freedom, and do scenes just the way you feel that you'd like to do them. He gives you that freedom, and also, I mean, of course, with that freedom, in an unsaid kind of way, he also gives you the responsibility of it.
Okay. And Farhan, like movies like this, Baad Milka Baad and now Toofan, do you will also believe that somehow, obviously, I mean, it is going to have a huge impact on the people who are watching it, but it would send out the right kind of message to the youngsters, especially in a country like India, which doesn't focus so much on sports for youngsters in terms of training them from a very young age. The onus we notice is always on the parents who kind of push them.
Yeah. You know, I feel like different people will take different things from the film. I mean, it's not like every single person, for example, who watched Bhag Milka Bhag decided that I'll become a track and field athlete, you know, but it moved you in different ways. It made you maybe like think about things in your own life, uh, forgive certain things that may have happened, you know, forget about certain things, move on from certain things, put to rest certain things that were on your mind, or demons that may have haunted you. So people get affected in different ways with films. So I feel in this, of course, there will be a huge impact on the fitness side of things because of what the character is doing in the film. That people will feel inspired to want to get fit, and maybe even inspired to start boxing and learn how to box. And that's but natural for that to happen. But our hope for the film is beyond that. You know, our hope for the film is, like I was saying, is that when the film is done, that you really understand and hopefully apply, if you haven't already been doing so, um, this need today for love, for acceptance, and for understanding, and for forgiveness. I think is very, very crucial.